Imagine a wooden porch in late summer. It's hot. The air is thick. You're 6 years old. You can hear the cicadas buzzing in the trees. Now listen to the difference. Version 1. I used to sit on that porch. My grandfather used to come out. We used to drink lemonade. It's clear, right? It's a fact. But try version 2. Every evening I would sit on that porch. My grandfather would come out, the screen door slamming behind him, and we would drink lemonade until the sun went down. Do you feel that shift? One is a police report, the other is a memory.
That is the perfect way to start. That shift you just described, that is the difference between simply knowing English and actually feeling it. It's the difference between a list of data points and a time machine.
Exactly. What's the word, everyone? You are locked in for another deep dive. Today, we are opening a time capsule. We're going deep into the past, but we aren't looking at the past simple. We aren't doing the boring I walked, I talked stuff.
No, today we are looking at the soul of English storytelling. We are tackling the ultimate showdown, used to versus would. It sounds like a small grammar point, but it is actually the secret to fluency.
If you've ever felt like your English sounds flat, like you're just reading a list of facts, this is the episode for you. We're going to break down how to paint a picture with your words. And honestly, I think most students learn the basic rule in 5 minutes and then stop there.
They do. They learn the textbook definition, but they never truly master the nuance. By the end of this session, you won't just know the rules. You'll understand the psychology behind why we choose one word over the other. We're going to cover the history, the narrative mode, and the common traps that even advanced speakers fall into.
Let's get it. Let's start with the foundation, the workhorse, used to. Why do we start here?
We start here because used to is what linguists call the anchor. It does the heavy lifting. When you say, I used to live in Paris, you are sending a very specific signal to your listener. You are signaling a discontinued past.
Discontinued, meaning it's over, done. The door is closed.
Precisely. If you just say, I lived in Paris, simple past, it's ambiguous. Maybe you lived there last year, maybe 10 years ago. But I used to live in Paris implies a separation between who you were then and who you are now. It emphasizes the gap.
It's like drawing a line in the sand. I was digging into the origins of this phrase because used to is a weird construction if you think about it. It comes from the old French word usage, right? The idea of habit.
That's right. It connects to the idea of being accustomed to something. In older English, you might see phrases like, it is in his use, meaning it's his habit. So when we say, I used to, we are literally saying, it was my habit to do this. But the key takeaway for learners is that used to is the only structure that can handle states of being.
Okay, this is the first big rule, states of being. Break that down.
Think of a movie set. Before the actors come out, you have the background, the location, the feelings, the ownership. These are static. For example, I used to be terrified of spiders. She used to have long hair. We used to know every secret spot in the city. These aren't actions you perform repeatedly. They are conditions of your life.
So you can't say, I would be terrified of spiders.
No, if you say I would be terrified, it sounds like a hypothetical situation in the future. Like, if I saw a ghost, I would be terrified. It doesn't sound like a memory. For states, facts, and permanent situations in the past, used to is the king. It sets the stage.
Got it. So, used to builds the set. It tells us where we are and what the rules are. Now, let's bring in the actors. Let's talk about the artist's brush. Would.
This is where the magic happens. In linguistics, we sometimes call this the nostalgic iterative. It sounds fancy, but iterative just means repeated. And nostalgic means we are looking back with emotion.
I love that term, nostalgic iterative. It sounds like a band name. But practically speaking, this is the storytelling tool. This is what I did in the intro with the lemonade.
Exactly. Once you have established the timeline with used to, you switch to would to describe the specific repeated actions that happened within that timeline. It creates a rhythm. It feels softer.
So, give us a concrete example of how to mix them.
Let's take the classic visiting grandma story. A beginner might say, I used to visit my grandma. We used to bake cookies. We used to talk for hours. It's grammatically correct, but it's repetitive. It clunks.
It sounds like a robot reading a diary.
Right. Now here's the native speaker version. You start with used to set the scene. I used to visit my grandma every Sunday. Boom, context established. Now we switch to would for the movie. We would bake cookies until the whole house smelled like cinnamon. Then we would sit on the porch and she would tell me stories about the war.
That is so much better. She would tell me stories. It feels like you're watching it happen right now. Why does would have that effect? Is it just because it's different?
It's because would is originally the past tense of will, and will implies desire, intent, or willingness. So when you say, she would tell me stories, there is a faint echo of her willingness to do it. It feels more active, more personal. It pulls the listener into the ritual.
That's a great point. It adds a layer of volition. But this brings us to the danger zone, the C1 test, as we call it, the action versus state barrier, because you can't just use would for everything, right?
No, and this is where students fail exams. You absolutely cannot use would for stative verbs. You have to understand the difference between doing something and being something. Let's test you.
Hit me.
Okay, when I was a kid, I would like chocolate. Correct or incorrect?
Incorrect. Like is a state of mind. You don't perform a like repeatedly. You just do it. So it has to be I used to like chocolate.
Perfect. What about every morning I would run 5 miles?
That works. Running is an action. It's dynamic. You put on your shoes, you go outside, you run. It's a movie scene.
Exactly. Now, here's the tricky one. The verb to have. This trips everyone up. I used to have a red bike versus I would have a red bike.
I would have a red bike sounds wrong. It sounds like you're negotiating a hostage situation. I would have a red bike if you paid me. It's conditional.
Right, because possession is a state. You own the bike continuously. You don't re-own it every 5 minutes. But, and here is the nuance, if have is part of an activity, you can use would. For example, we would have dinner at 6 p.m.
Because having dinner is an action. It means eating. That is such a crucial distinction. If you can replace have with eat or drink or experience, then would is safe. If it means own, stay away from would.
Spot on. And this connects back to what we said about the movie set. The bike is a prop on the set, static. Eating dinner is the scene, active.
I want to circle back to the D trap, the spelling and pronunciation, because even native speakers mess this up in writing constantly.
Oh, the D gremlin. It's because in speech, used to sounds like used to. The D and the T blend together. So when people write it, they get confused, especially in the negative.
So walk us through the negative. I didn't used to?
Technically, in formal grammar, because you have the auxiliary did, the main verb should return to the base form. So it should be I didn't used to, USE, no D. However, if you look at modern corpus data, a huge number of native speakers write it with the D anyway, because it looks weird without it.
It does look weird. Didn't used to looks like I didn't utilize to. But for an exam, stick to no D.
For an exam, absolutely drop the D. Did you used to play football? I didn't used to like broccoli. Keep it clean.
Now, speaking of negatives, would has a really interesting personality in the negative form. If I say my old car wouldn't start in the winter, that feels different than my old car didn't start.
Yes, this goes back to the etymology of will, desire. When you use wouldn't for a past object, it implies refusal. You are personifying the car. You're saying the car refused to start. It adds this flavor of frustration.
Like the car is being stubborn. The door wouldn't open. It feels like the door is fighting you. That's so much more descriptive than the door did not open.
It turns the object into a character in your story. That's the power of these structures. They aren't just about time. They are about attitude.
There is one other attitude we need to cover, the typical behavior aspect. This isn't about nostalgia at all, is it?
No, this is about predictability. We often use would to describe annoying habits or characteristic traits of a person. You emphasize the word would. Like, I told him it was a secret, and of course, he would go and tell everyone.
Oh, I use that all the time. Typical John, he would leave his keys in the ignition. It's like rolling your eyes with grammar.
Exactly. In that context, would means this is exactly what I expected from him. It's a very high-level way to add flavor to your descriptions of people. It shows you understand their character.
Before we wrap up, we have to do the bonus round, the one thing that confuses every single English learner on the planet, the difference between used to do and to be used to doing.
The ultimate trap. These look the same, but they are completely unrelated grammatically. I used to live here uses the verb use, but I am used to living here uses the adjective used, meaning accustomed.
Let's simplify it with a formula. If you are talking about the past habit, it's used to plus the base verb. I used to drive.
Right. But if you are talking about familiarity, about something feeling normal, you use the verb to be plus used to plus ing. I am used to driving.
So, I used to drive means I don't do it anymore. I am used to driving means it's easy for me now. It's normal.
And you can add get to show the process. I am getting used to driving on the left side of the road. That means it was hard, but it's becoming easier. It's a process of adaptation.
I feel like we've just handed everyone the keys to the kingdom. We've covered the used to umbrella for facts, the would magic for movie scenes, the state versus action rule, and the refusal nuance.
It really is a toolkit for storytelling. If you only remember one thing from today, remember the movie set analogy. Use used to build the walls and the context, then use would to make the characters move.
So here's your homework, everyone, and we really want you to do this. Think of someone from your past, a teacher, a friend, a neighbor. Write 2 sentences.
Used to describe a fact about them. Who were they? Sentence 2, use would to describe a specific thing they did repeatedly that drives you crazy or makes you smile.
Post them in the comments or share them with a friend. We read every single one. Thank you for sticking with us for this masterclass. You are officially ready to tell your life story in English without sounding like a textbook.
Go paint some pictures with your words. We'll catch you in the next one.
Peace out.